You.
Yeah. Ooh, the Babadook. What's up, everybody? John Wick 4.
What?
We're getting right into it. I would say first, okay, we're gonna be spoiler free for a while. We'll keep things to the very end. We'll make this nice and easy on people who haven't seen it yet, thinking maybe they want to see it. I know it's 3 hours long. I wasn't the most excited to watch John Wick for 3 hours, but getting into ramping up for the third act, I was pumped. I was ready. I wanted that third hour, and we got it. And I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it was surprising that it was even 3 hours towards the end. I was, expecting it to feel longer.
Yeah, I was like, is this that part of the movie where you think it's the end, but there's another half hour? But it was the end. It was the end.
Yeah.
So if I didn't know it was 3 hours and I left and you asked me how long it was, I would have guessed about 2.5 hours. So,
yeah,
because it felt chunky, but
yep,
it was just it was paced really well. It was edited really well, so it was really strong structure. So it flew by. I'd give it thumbs up. I would suspect that a lot of the talk about it is positive. If you enjoyed the first three, this is going to be worth watching. It'll be enjoyable. You might like one of the others more, possibly, but
yeah. I think what I would say, without spoiling anything, is that it's obviously the action you'd expect from a John Wick movie. So there's a lot of realistic, fast-paced violence. So for kids, that's basically the main element that you would be looking out for here.
Yeah.
There's not almost any sexual element, I don't think, in this movie.
No, I don't think there is.
So there's nothing really to worry about with the kids on that end.
A lot of headshots, though.
Exactly. But if you're looking for an action movie and you like the stylized cinematography and you like the choreography of the past John Wicks, this is definitely your movie. You should go check it out.
Yeah. It's more of it. I would say it's about what you expect it to be, right?
Yeah. I think, in a lot of ways, I think it exceeded the ones previous. Like, they're learning things. They're getting better at certain aspects of it. Mm-hmm. They definitely had the best visual aesthetic, like where they were shooting, the setting. They had a lot of the Japanese aesthetic, but also France and Paris and some of these castle churches and, the Eiffel Tower and just some beautiful places.
For sure. Yep, it had some of that Western cowboy aesthetic going. Some of the kung fu. Oh
yeah.
The first third of the movie, the first hour of the movie they're in Japan, right? Are they in Tokyo?
I think so. This is one of those things where we just saw it in the theaters, so we can't look back right now. Which I would love to do for so many little things in the movie.
Yep.
So that I wouldn't be able to say. I don't know.
I think it was in Japan.
I think so.
'Cause they showed some of the streets and stuff too, for sure.
Yep. But yeah, I know. I don't know. Could it be Hong Kong or something? I'm not sure. I think it was Japan, but
it was Asian. It was an Asian city for sure. So we called John Wick 3 a well-made cheeseburger in reference to a fantastic scene in the menu. And I thought about that while watching this, and I was like, is that underselling this? I think this is more than a cheeseburger now. I think John Wick 4 is more than just a well-made cheeseburger. We meant that as a compliment. If you haven't seen the menu, there's a scene where a guest asks a world-class chef to make her a cheeseburger. And he makes her what he says is the best cheeseburger she's ever had. It'll feel like the first cheeseburger she's ever eaten. And so we did really mean John Wick 3 as a cheeseburger in a good way. It was a well-made cheeseburger. But I felt like this was more like something like steak and potatoes. It was like a big step up from a cheeseburger. So it's not the fanciest kind of thing you would ever expect from a chef, but if a chef made you a well-made steak with some good mashed potatoes, it would, it would transcend. And I think it was like that. I think it was like a steak with mashed potatoes kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
With like a vegetable on the side that he grew in his backyard.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, there's some aspects of this that are like super, super top notch. The suits and the suits. Costume design here is awesome. And if you're a suit person in general, like, you might love this movie even if you don't like action movies, because there's so many cool suits.
If you're into suits,
I mean, some people are really into suits. That's a thing. And it's pretty cool. There's some definite suit game in this movie.
There was a red one Bill Skarsgård was wearing at one point that was like, it looked like almost like Star Wars, like an Imperial suit, but like maybe a Disney villain would be wearing.
I was gonna say it was almost like Captain Hook lives at the Buckingham Palace.
Yep, something like that. Nice suits.
Yeah.
It's very convenient for the bad guy to have like a secret crest that only his guys carry on their persons.
Yes. You don't want to make it hard on John Wick.
Not too hard. But so yeah, getting into the cast. So Lance Reddick, he played Sharon.
Yeah,
he's in it
I feel like. Yeah, I wish he was in it more.
Yeah, this was. So he died like 9 days ago.
Whoa!
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I just heard that. So he just passed away right before the premiere. Apparently he completed filming on The Ballerina, which is a John Wick spinoff that we can talk about in a little bit. So he will be in one more John Wick property, but yeah, he just passed away. So
wow, that's too bad.
Yeah.
I really liked him in the series.
He was perfect in this role. I remember him most from The Wire. He was a police captain, I believe, and he was great in that movie, or great in that show. That's a great show. But
well, cheers to you, Lance Reddick. I raise my glass to your memory.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, that was The Wire there. So, but the cast in general, I thought was great. We'll see what you think of the additions to the ensemble, because we had Ian McShane was back, and he's as great as ever as Winston, the manager.
Yep.
Lawrence Fishburne, loved it. I liked him more in this one. He's not in it as much, maybe as much as he was in the other ones, because he just pops in. He doesn't have a whole lot to do, but I really, really liked the opening scene where you got John Wick on the punching board, and the Pirate King is just like walking through the tunnels yelling some Shakespearean epic thing, and I don't know, that was awesome. And he's just like, "Are you ready?" Spoilers. First line of John Wick in the movie is "Yeah," and I was so into it. Like, I was like, "Yes." Wouldn't it have sucked if he turned around and like went on some long thing about like, I don't know, some existential thing? Like, I just want him to be like,
no, for sure. I mean, honestly, the yeahs are great every time. He has a few really good ones in this movie.
Yeah, and they don't get old. Not for me.
No.
Not for me. It reminds me of Clint Eastwood, actually. I don't know if I thought of that until this one, but watching it, I was like, this is kind of like a Clint Eastwood vibe he's going for. And that might be obvious to some who are more acquainted with Clint Eastwood's, catalog.
Yeah. I mean, if you're watching Keanu and you're feeling it in your Clint, then you're, maybe that's it.
Yep. That's how you know. That's the sign right there. So we got those couple. They're back. Clancy Brown came in as the Harbinger. Really epic. Really, as a lot of things in the movie, the framing of the characters and the setup for a lot of things is what makes it. It's not a whole lot of dialogue. We don't know anything about who this guy is, except that he's under the main bad guy, Marquis. But he's in this big black suit with a big black cowboy hat on. big white beard. He just looks epic. The framing of him in camera is epic. So a lot of great setup, and he's not in it a whole lot, but he's memorable, very memorable.
Yeah.
And Bill Skarsgård, he is the bad guy. He is Alexander Skarsgård's brother, which I didn't realize until just a minute ago. But I was like, hey, that's the same last name. They kind of look like. And then boom.
Connections.
Confirmed. The Northman with the Frenchman. So he was great. I thought he was a good bad guy. Bad guy.
Yeah, so I recognize him from a show called Hemlock Grove on Netflix, where he's a vampire, and it's like a Twilight spin-off kind of show.
Okay.
And he was kind of annoying in that. He was like this bratty, like rich vampire guy. So I had a hard time not picturing him in that at first, but I thought his performance was really good, and by the end of it, I really liked him in this.
Yeah, I think he pulled it off. He pulled it off. It's a little bit much. He's a little bit over the top, but everything is, so it fits.
It fits. Yep, I think he did a good job acting the role. Playing that character.
Yep, agreed.
Which is probably a hard role too, because he's like the highest, richest character that we've met in the series, really.
Right, Wick is just moving up the ladder.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he kind of had to bring a new energy of like, I'm the kingpin kind of thing.
Yeah.
He did pretty good.
Donnie Yen was amazing. So we'll see what you think of the two. They add two assassins to the mix. Donnie Yen, who's a blind retired assassin, and Shamir Anderson. I totally loved both of them. So I'm not sure what you think of them.
Yeah, that is funny. It's the exact opposite for me.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't like Shamir Anderson in this role at all. Something about the way that he acted it just felt it. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the guy in Star Wars Episode 7. What's his name? Finn.
Oh, Finn. Yeah,
he reminded me of Finn, where
really?
he just took me out of it in a sense where like certain things, like in this movie, the guy with the dog, what's his character's name again? Oh, he's Mr. Nobody. That's who he's playing. So he has certain moments where he's in these situations with like these top people, underlords, and he's like rolling his eyes and acting like really aloof, and it just didn't work for me. I could see that working. I don't think the actor made it happen for me.
Okay. Yep.
So my complaint isn't throughout the movie. My complaint wasn't about the story of him. I just didn't love the guy acting as him. Yep. But then at the end, I thought the character something about the way he acted at the end didn't make sense, and it didn't culminate into anything for me. So I was hoping that character would kind of be, established better at the end with like a, tying up his story, and it would have made me like it more.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they aren't just setting up more spin-offs.
Oh, it could be. That might make me like his character more, because it was pretty open-ended at the end.
Right.
The acting didn't necessarily ruin the writing of it if they go further with him, but I just thought it was kind of like he's kind of in the group at the end but not in the group, and it just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, there was something I was hoping for. We can wait a little longer to get into, but I do think we know there's 2 spin-offs coming, one apparently later this year, and they're expanding this universe, so I thought they're bringing in some more players to work with in that way.
I loved his dog. I mean, I'll say that. Awesome. And his interaction with the dog, he did a good job with all that. I thought the dog scenes were more realistic in this movie than in John Wick 3. Because John Wick 3 had some awesome dog scenes too, running up walls and doing some really cool stuff. Most of the scenes in this one, to me, felt more like the dog wouldn't have been spotted or like the guys wouldn't have enough time to react to get the guns on the dog.
Right.
And which, that's a big part of it. Like, dogs aren't bulletproof. So I thought that they did better in this one. There was one scene though where the dog runs and jumps on like every roof of like 5 cars before jumping on the ground. That just was like, what is happening? But still, it was cool. And I don't think a real dog did that either. So was that CG?
There was one shot with the dog that was definitely CGI. It was very apparent, but most of it looked real. You mean with the jumping on the cars?
Yeah, I just feel like the lengths and the coordination of what that dog did in that scene didn't look realistic to me. But it didn't look fake. Like, my eyes couldn't pick up what was wrong, but at the same time, I can't picture training a dog to jump car to car like that. Maybe they did. I would love to see the training of the dog for this movie.
Yeah, I think they could get a dog to do that.
If they did that, I would be very impressed.
And at the very least, maybe jumping on green screen platforms.
Okay.
Something like that.
That maybe. Because it was the traction of the landings that was surprising to me of why I didn't think it was real, because the tops of cars are so slick.
Right.
I see my own dog slip on shit all the time, so...
Yep. Yeah. Imagine Neo jumping in that fight scene.
But so for just to keep my complaint train going so that I can close it down with the other character, Kane, because that was my only complaints about Mr. Nobody. He wasn't that major of a character, I don't think, in the story, even though he was in it a good amount. He does save John Wick a few times, I guess, Mr. Nobody. But Donnie Yen, this is more of like a situation you kind of have to infer between them when you first meet them, because you're like, okay, they have history, and they're not going to give you too much information about the history, so you're kind of piecing it together as you watch it, bit by bit. But you know that they were close, and they fought together, and there's some kind of bond there that's making it so they don't really want to kill each other, but they're gonna, I loved Ip Man. You got Ip Man up on the street.
Dude, he is screen. Ip Man.
Yep. And he's awesome.
Legend.
That actor is awesome. I had no complaints with his acting.
These are probably they are definitely some of the best kung fu movies ever made. Like they're in the top tier for sure. They're pretty amazing.
It's a really cool movie too. I like the concept of his training, and like his philosophy on martial arts is really cool. But yeah, this guy. So the only thing that was bothering me about it, because I liked the story with the two of them, I liked his acting, but what I kept having hangups on is that when they first introduced him, they're like, all right, this blind character. And they set up a couple of like ways that he hears what's going on in a room to like throw something or shoot something. And then there's other scenes where he is like trying to grab something on a tray, and he has to like reach for it a few times. And then there's
a little inconsistency there.
A scene at the beginning where he puts those like doorbells all over the room, and then when the guys pass them, he knows where they are to shoot them. So that's kind of like the beginning of the scenes with him, and I felt like they were building up like a certain kind of like he has to do certain things to like hear his environment around him, with like echolocation or something. I've seen Daredevil. I've seen a lot of blind fighters, in shows, but they're not going to explain it to me, so I have to like build it myself. So I'm building it off of that at the beginning, and then as the fights progress, he's fighting large groups of people without necessarily being able to hear them. Yeah,
there was a couple of things I noticed. Like, there's one particular moment where he stabs somebody through the hand out of nowhere, and I was just like, how do you know his hand was there? Like, they're just walking. There were definitely some things like that. There were also things going in the other direction where there were 3 times that I noticed, and I'm sure it happened more, where he's in the background. He's in the back of the shot. We're watching Keanu or somebody else in the foreground. In the background, you can see him like swinging at the air and shooting at nothing. Like Donnie Yen is there was several times he's in the background with a pistol, like his head's up. Obviously, he's not even looking, and he's just shooting off. He's mag dumping his pistol into like walls and stuff. And I think the point is, well, A, he might accidentally hit somebody, and that would be good. And B, because he knows like John Wick is behind him or whoever's behind him. But B, he's making them scurry, and then he hears them. So it's like I think in the scene in the kitchen with the echolocation, I think that's exactly what he does. Is it's actually the first time we see him engage anybody. He just kind of shoots the gun off, and they scurry a little bit, and then he attacks. So I think there was a little bit of that going on. But
I think, and this comes back to the whole supposition, or not supposition, but something that you're assumption about the whole world of John Wick is kind of John Wick always has this ability to kind of supersede normal expectations of a person in a combat situation. And in this movie, they gave this character Kane at least as much plot armor as John Wick is how it felt. Like all the scenes, there's so many scenes between Kane and Keanu that they're just unloading at each other. They're fighting each other in that glass case room for a while, and they're unloading so many bullets at each other, and they're in really close proximity. I just find it hard to believe none of the bullets are going to land. They're not always touching each other. I know that they're moving evasively, and so their shots aren't great, and I get like to some extent there's that. But that's just was my hang up. And again, coming back to John Wick, it's like I know that there's some of this stuff that you're supposed to just like roll with. You're supposed to roll with like he just fell off of the 3rd building in the last like 2 or 3 days, and he's just going to get up and walk away.
I know. It does bother me. Like I don't want to see the protagonist who is supposed to be a real person. Like I plot armor and all this stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff that I'm letting slide for this movie because it's just fun.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see him fall off a building.
Yep.
Like, and then hit something on the way down.
Yeah.
And then face first into pavement. Like, I don't know. It's a little bit much. I agree.
I got to get a suit like that. That's why he can do that.
Yeah, I do think it's the suit. But I think, like they could just bring this into Marvel and it would almost not be that crazy.
Exactly.
Like it could just roll into like, oh, he's part of the Avengers now. He's as tough as Black Widow. We've seen Black Widow fall off some buildings and get back up, and I don't know. I do think more in this movie than the previous 3 that he is like mythical. Like he's not a real person in a way. Like I don't know.
Or he's like a demigod almost, where like he has like some like otherworldly ability or like armor that's just like supersedes.
There might be a actual mythical character that he is modeled after. Like, is there somebody, like it's like he's going through all the realms of hell to get back to his wife. It's like is that Dante? Like
Dante, I don't know if he ever does he make it out of the Inferno?
I don't know.
I was picturing more of like the Odyssey where
next episode, Dante's Inferno review. yeah. But I don't know. But
yeah, like the Odyssey is like that though, where the character he leaves home and he goes through all these trials, really dangerous stuff.
Right.
Gods, comes back to his wife eventually.
Right. So I don't know. Like, I just wonder. When they're writing it, I think that the primary goal is to show action bits that haven't been done before, and they just create literally. I mean, there must be 1,000 different little choreographed moments in the movie. There must be over 1,000 choreographed moves, and I think they really care about upping the kung fu action movie standard.
Yeah.
And him having plot armor is like they don't care
Right.
at all. Like,
exactly.
Like they just don't care at all. And I'm totally fine with that.
Same. So again, that is something I understand in going into it, you know. It's also something that keeps this from being like, in a certain way, it's not going to be in my top tier of movies where like Lord of the Rings or like the original Star Wars saga is or something, because it has that level of like, you're giving it grace because of that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I know that going into it. So before spoilers, I guess I'll say my rating of this movie then. So again, I just don't think I can give it an A rating.
I don't think I would. No.
Because it's just missing some of those marks. But anything that's in the B category to me is something I would rewatch and enjoy.
Yeah, B is exceptional.
Yep.
B is
But so this one I would give a B, straight up B. But the John Wick 3 I would have given a B plus. So there was something about those two characters that were just nagging on me when I was watching it.
As you said that. As you said that, this moment happened, and I just pictured Keanu like really pissed at you for not giving it a better rating.
So, but I have to clarify that, like, again, I think this movie did better at a lot of stuff than each previous John Wick. This car scene was awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy.
There was a lot of awesome stuff for me, but for my personal experience watching it and like just the enjoyment, a lot of what takes me out of it is not liking characters, and those two characters something about it didn't work for me.
I think I would actually grade it lower, but for different reasons. Like I really liked the new characters a lot. I thought they brought a lot to the table, and they added a lot to the tincture of the John Wick, and I really liked both of them, the Blind Man and Tracker. I really liked the blind dude. What was the name again? What was it? Kane. Yeah, I just thought he was really unique, and his movement was really cool. It was kind of goofy, but deadly. And just the way he fought. And it also, we should mention too, another legend, Hiroyuki Sanada played Shimudzi. We just saw him in Bullet Train, right?
Yep.
He was just in Bullet Train.
Yeah, he was great in this.
Another legend, yes. And they built up the fight between him and Kane. And I like as they were building it up, I was like, "Oh, we're gonna get a fight between them. It's gonna happen sometime." And then it was like 10 minutes later, we got the fight. That was awesome. It's like it's the climax of the first act. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. And just I love seeing. And this doesn't happen a lot, or like I think most of the time you get an action scene or some kung fu scene where they're fighting the same way. You have multiple people who are choreographed by the same guy, so they're fighting the same way. And I think in John Wick, they've always done a good job of each guy has their skill set and their style, and the choreography sticks to that. So you get really unique. It not to make a joke of it, but that's kind of like how, Civil War, some of the best of the Marvel moments are when you get the different characters, they're mixing and matching, and you get like Iron Man fighting Thor, Iron Man fighting the Hulk, you get Captain America versus Spider-Man. Like, I love that. Those are some of my favorite scenes, fight scenes at least in those movies. So in this movie, in the same way, you got like different loadouts, different skill sets, different styles. Tracker, Mr. Nobody, his fight scene with John Wick, I thought was sick. Oh, and then leading up to it, he had the backpack, and he's got like armor in there or something. So he's backing up two guys. He turns around and backs up.
That was a dope move.
And so people are shooting his huge backpack, and then he just like body slams him with it. And then he whips the backpack around to cover his front side. I don't know. It was like really sick video game moves or something. And so, anyways, so my point was I really like the additions to the cast, and the plot armor. We all knew it was coming. No big surprise.
Yep.
I would say that I think so. We got Mission Impossible coming up soon, and I'm really excited for that. I think Fallout was amazing. I think the only thing about it that I would change is there's a moment in the last 10 minutes of it that's like, what? And other than that, it's really grounded, and the plot is high class. It's high end. It's great espionage, spy. It's a great spy thriller, Fallout. So I'm saying that to say, I think this will have. It'll be hard for Mission Impossible to beat this out with the action, but the plot is likely to beat this out. Like I would imagine the new Mission Impossible plot is going to be sophisticated and like.
You can only hope, but I would expect more from that movie. Just like saying that I don't think John Wick could even make it into the A's. I think that Mission Impossible could. If it was done right. And again, John Wick, it's like you're building the movie like that. Like, we're giving you the best grades you could possibly get in choreography. Like,
I think it's top tier.
It is. I can't think of anything that's doing more than they are to push envelopes and do new stuff and make everything look realistic and capture things that haven't been seen as part of like the battle sequence, to make it more realistic. There's so much of that, but it's just limited in that sense where there's not like that realism. Mission Impossible is striving for that realism.
Yes.
There might be plot armor, but they're going to try to hide it as much as possible.
Yeah, and like I think there's very little. Mission Impossible 2 and 3, definitely more so. Maybe 4. But 1 and 5, Mission Impossible 1 and 5, I think there's very, very little plot armor.
Okay.
I think, ironically, all of the plot armor that I'm thinking of off the top of my head, it's all concentrated in one moment at the end of the movie.
Okay.
In Mission Impossible 1, you got the classic red light, green light, helicopter explodes, throws him off the helicopter back onto the train. Classic moment, top tier Tom Cruise, but it's like, okay, like we'll let that slide. It's been a super grounded spy movie for 2 hours, and then all of a sudden it's like boom. And Fallout does kind of a similar thing, but But anyways, I think I think that's what I feel. Mission Impossible, it's gonna have a hard time topping the action in this movie, but it's probably gonna be more grounded. So that's all.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Like, how do you top? There's a one-shotter that's my favorite I've seen in a while. We're following John Wick through like a castle apartment. I don't even know what kind of building they're in.
Dude, so many.
And just following him with Dragon's Breath shotgun shells.
That was awesome. I know that was honestly, it was so much like being in like a Warzone game or something, like some kind of Call of Duty game, but like more realistic because it was like real people running around doing it. Like, it looked pretty cool.
I don't know who this guy is on screen. I
was wondering
I
too.
just looked him up in the IMDb page, and he's not. I don't see him anywhere.
Weird.
So he's in a fat suit. Yeah. Shocker. I didn't know. Did you know this was a guy in a fat suit?
I thought it was actually.
Oh, I didn't. I thought it was some big fat dude.
Something about the body shape didn't seem right to me.
Yeah, okay. This was a perfect example of them just setting things up so well. Over and over again. The movie just sets up characters and scenes perfectly. It was a really epic setting. The room in this guy is in. He's got this crazy light behind him. He's surrounded by these like statues holding these big chandeliers, but they're not hanging. They're being held. What's a chandelier that you hold?
A lamp. That's a lamp fixture, bro.
Dude, it's like a chandelier, but it's not hanging. Really epic. See, that's why you need set designers and stuff. They know all these things. They know about lamps and but yeah, the gold teeth, the purple suit, all of it. It's just, I don't know, the Russian background with his, like, he's part He's deep in the Russian mafia. I don't know. It's just epic.
Yeah.
It's epic.
Oh,
Lots of fun.
So many epic scenes. What about the scene when they're with, what's the hotel owner? That's the Japanese guy who fights Kane. Whatever his name is.
Yes.
He owns the hotel. He's the third friend of Keanu and Kane. So they're at the hotel. Keanu shows up, and the hotel owner goes out and meets him on the roof, where he has this like amazing rooftop like villa thing, and they have this spread of food that's like sushi and other Japanese like nice food. Just it was so awesome, and it was just like, I know since you're here, everything's about to hit the fan. Like he knows through that whole conversation that like John brought so much death to his doorstep, and
Classic.
But they're just like, I don't know, what a conversation and what a like place and a setting.
That shot too, where we open on Wick, where he's standing in front. It's a lotus tree, right? I believe that's a lotus tree. He's standing in front
cherry
of.
blossom.
Oh, cherry blossom. Yeah. That it's just such an epic shot. Classic kung fu shot.
Yes,
I think.
Yes. Yeah. No, that was awesome. And then so many of the scenes with like the castles and stuff, like with the high table guys and the marquee, they're like sitting on these really fancy Victorian chairs at these like marble tables with like all these engravings on the wood like it was just so elaborate and fancy. And then they're on these like massive stone courtyards in front of these huge like castle like cathedral buildings or museums, whatever they are.
I think that's the last thing I would want to mention before getting into spoilers. The architecture is awesome. They find so many cool buildings and rooms.
Yeah.
And they light the hell out of it, and it just looks awesome. It looks awesome. It's a great, great looking movie, for sure.
Yeah. World-class settings.
The lighting is also really over the top. Lots of neon. But the color palette is different in every movie. Each one has a slightly different general tone. And this one... actually, this scene I was just talking about a minute ago with this Russian mob guy, they have like for some reason, a lot of their lighting is coming from a huge fan duct above them. And so there's a massive fan slowly turning, and it, like most of the light in the room is coming from a light above that fan. So it's just like spinning around the room. It's like, is this how this room would have been built and lit? Like, no, of course not. But it looks awesome. It looks very cool. That's like the movie in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wait, you don't think they'd just like click the lights off and go to green at most buildings?
I mean, if they did that in this movie again, I would be pushing this happened in The Matrix.
They did do that in this movie.
What? No.
Yes, dude. It was like the third scene. I swear to God, they did that.
Oh, with the clicker. But were they green lights, though? Were they green neon? Was it?
Yeah.
No.
Dude, I swear. Because I was like, oh my God, it's green lights again.
No way.
I swear. It was one of the first scenes. It was like 3 or 4 scenes in. It was definitely in the first hour. Maybe the first half hour.
All right. Well, I guess I'm pushing this happens in The Matrix. John Wick happens in The Matrix. In the last Matrix movie, we have Keanu Reeves. He builds video games. And John Wick is all about games. They play games all the time. Like the whole Assassin Underworld thing is set up like a game. They're playing card games. They're playing like weird games they don't even explain. Like that scene where they're setting up the rules for the showdown.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
and when they're like putting up the bounty keeps going up. It's like it's all set up like a game.
Yeah. I think this is a video game, and he is Neo playing as a character in a game.
Oh my God.
And
we're in a game watching them make a movie about a game, about a movie where they make games. God. Oh man, it just keeps going.
Maybe we will get John Wick 5 then. So spoilers coming up now. So we mentioned the architecture. Architecture's really great. So there's one thing I really wanted to happen that we didn't get, and I think it would have been better if we did. So we've been hearing about the high table. It's been 4 movies now, hearing about it. I thought what they were setting up, I think what they did set up and then didn't go the route I thought they were going was John Wick and his growing gang of compadres taking over the high table.
That's what I thought.
I wanted that. I did want that. And we have the manager, Winston, who's like ready to fulfill a higher position in this corporation. We have the Harbinger character who's really likes John Wick. I mean, everybody likes John Wick except for the Frenchman, Marquis. And, you know, even the people who are going out to kill him, they're like, we used to be buddies. He's a cool guy. Like, so I don't know. I really wanted a high table overthrow.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I was thinking that at the beginning of the movie, and then it didn't seem like
that's where they were going with it.
That's where it was going to go. I thought that maybe for like an hour in the movie.
Yeah.
Something made me think it wasn't.
I think I was hoping for like the whole movie because he was making so many friends along the way.
I know.
And I just thought like, oh, is this a coup unfolding? And I think that would have been cool. I think that would have been very cool. But,
yeah, for sure.
So that was like I think a missed opportunity. I think it would have been cooler. So the final scene, the big fight, which is not a big fight. It was actually a very simple, straightforward fight.
Oh, the shoot off?
Yeah, the shoot off. I thought it was clever. That was cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like that. I like the idea that the mafia runs off all these old rules.
I like that a lot. I do. And they would. They would.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Did you feel like he died? Because he did. Yeah. Like, if I had to put $100 down right now, I would bet he died. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, he died in Hollywood, so he might be back. I think he died. I mean, they had a grave for him.
I know.
He like Winston collapsed and he seemed to be lifeless. But
did you check his pulse?
I mean, the end of the last movie was that he got shot and knocked off of a like 4-story building,
right?
And smashed on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we knew he was still alive because there was a scene where,
right,
the Bowery King brings him into the sewer.
Yeah.
But you know, could he be back? Yes.
I know he's dead. I'm not arguing that he's still alive, but it just felt like I don't know, like we want to know he's dead. Like, okay,
I should have chopped his head off.
Way. Or like, I don't know, like maybe not chop his head off, but like, so that last moment when Winston, which it's a great moment, he's like, "You arrogant bastard!" He didn't even shoot. So Keanu still has his shot. The person he's actually contending against is now stepping up to him with the pistol. I'm sure there's rules broken. I'm sure he's now the Skarsgård character. I mean the Marquis. I'm sure in him taking the pistol from his champion and walking up to John Wick, he's forfeited the champion aspect. So now he's the bad guy now that John Wick is in this.
I saw it similar to that because I think you're right that it must have been like a rule that like about this thing. So how I think thought of it was I thought that when he stepped on, it was like he was entering the arena and John still hadn't shot his shot.
Exactly.
So he was just in the line of fire. I wasn't thinking of it as him taking over for
his
the
champion.
blind guy.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of it like you stepped onto like a sacred battleground.
That too.
So whatever happens to you is like your own fault. Kind of thing.
Like I think John Wick headshotting him is totally within the rules. Within
I think
the
too.
Balance of the situation. Yeah,
I think so too. I think that it just showed that he was kind of like a bratty, like overconfident guy in that way at the end that he got on there.
Yeah, it was great. I thought it was a great moment. I haven't seen that before.
And
it's
beautiful.
Clever.
Oof.
Yeah, true. Maybe in that moment, if Marquis headshotted him, so it was like a twofer, they both shoot at the same time, and we get a John Wick with a bullet through the head. Like, he's dead. I kind of like. I put it this way: if he came back, that wouldn't be impossible.
No,
it wouldn't be impossible for him to come back. And I wish it was just like it was done. Like that was the end of John Wick. And there's just a part of me that's like, they could bring him back. They could, and it could be like, yeah, Winston knew all along, and I don't know. Like, it's the end of The Dark Knight Rises when Michael Caine bumps into Bruce in France.
Oh yeah,
but
maybe yeah. I mean, Keanu is still alive. They like made him a cyborg now to like fix his body, and like the next one is like just like a hybrid movie. They're
Robo
like
Wick.
Robo Wick. Yes, exactly.
Something like that. I don't know.
He's got the Dragon's Breath shotgun just built into his arm.
Oh, that's it. I mean, so that's part of it too, is like how could you escalate this more? And it would be something like, well, he's got Dragon's Breath built. It's in his jacket sleeve now.
I'm glad that we started talking about spoilers because I was waiting to say this. Nunchucks. It happened. And it was awesome. Mm-hmm. It was honestly the coolest nunchuck scene I've ever seen in a movie. I loved that he had it with the pistol. Honestly, when he picked up the nunchucks, I was worried because I was like, oh man, like he's going to do like a couple things and it's going to just be like look stupid. Mm-hmm. But it really showed you how nunchucks could be used in close combat to deadly effect. Like I believed that the people that he was cracking in the head with those things were like incapacitated. Like those were some real looking blows. It looked awesome.
Yep.
And then with the pistol in the other hand to like get the range. Oh, that was a fun fight.
Yeah, that reminds me of the Pit Viper. How he uses. So it's got a built-in compensator at the end of it.
Oh yeah.
And it's beveled, and then like it's cut back. So I don't know if this will show the picture very well, but it doesn't really. The front of this is like a fang. So when the slide pulls back, it looks like a fang. And when he runs out of ammo, he takes this thing apart and uses the frame of the gun, and he just grabs people's jugular with the compensator of his pistol and rips it. And it's just like one of the many things you've never seen in a movie before. That's for sure.
No, that's awesome.
They even mentioned it earlier on when he gets it from the Bowery King. He's like, and it's sharp. That gun there, it's pretty sharp, and he pulls the slide back a little bit and you see it a little bit, and I was like, what's he gonna do with that? It's like, oh, he's gonna take it apart.
He'll have use for it.
Yeah, wild.
He's like the MacGyver of pistols.
I'm sure a lot of people have. So this one doesn't have it, actually.
I don't like the way that handle looks on that Pit Viper though.
Oof, the stippled grip.
Yeah, but the way it's pulled back like that, like it looks like it's in a weird angle.
This is similar to the SIG. So that SIG we were holding, this is a very similar grip to that.
I think so.
Yeah. The SIG grip doesn't look that comfortable. There's something about it that looks blocky, but when you hold it, it feels perfect, at least for my hand.
But I feel like it's more of a perpendicular angle to the barrel, and this one is more slanted left.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. We have to check out the SIG.
We'd have to do some more research.
We'll get back to you about the differences between the Pit Viper and the SIG Sawyer.
Yeah, let's see right here.
Oh, here we go. Coming at you live.
The P365.
See what I'm saying?
So this has a little bit more
that one
of
does,
an angle.
But the little mini one at the top, like top right or something, or middle top, those are the ones that I was looking at. See it? Even though it has a curve that way,
than I was
the inside angle shows you it's closer to straight. It does have a little bit of that, but that one one looks pronounced to me.
Yeah, I could see that. Actually.
I wonder how it would feel in your hand, though. You know, it might be the kind of thing where once you hold it, you like it.
Let's see. Does he ever use a 1911? Let's see. He does. He does. Gun manufacturers must get really excited when these movies come out.
Yeah, because they're going to sell some guns.
So this is a 1911 that's built similar.
Wow, look at how thin that barrel is.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that grip. Because I did think it has a similar grip to a 1911, but this is like a custom John Wick thing. Maybe it's just the way that... Let's look up a classic. It might be the way that Keanu Reeves likes them, but no, the classic 1911, it's very straight. A little curve at the top for the thumb. But yeah, this one does too. Anyways, so the only other one that comes to mind is the FN 509. This is worth it. This is why people come here. So the FN 509. Let's see. Maybe this is the one I was thinking of more. No, this one's pretty curved too. Pretty curved. So, this one also felt really good in my hand, but not like the SIG. The SIG was like, it felt custom made.
I'm pretty set on getting a SIG for my next pistol because it felt good, and everyone that shoots them says you won't get a more comfortable shoot than this. Like, there's just saying, it feels really good to shoot.
So I'm guessing that the ones, maybe the one in the movie was custom. It had that custom little thing at the end, because the ones I'm seeing, they're all flat. The compensator's flat, but anyways. Lots of cool guns. Also, we mentioned the Dragon's Breath shoddy again. The Benelli M2, I think it's called. So, yeah. The ending. It was. I'll just put it that way again. I think if they brought him back, it would be like, yeah, okay. I guess he could have still been alive. It was a gut shot too. That's what I mean. Why not like pop a lung? You know, something more drastic to the upper body. But it was a gut shot. I did see when he gets gut shot, it blows out his back. Like he had in real life with that gun, that was like a bear or a elephant hunting sidearm. It's like something you'd have as a backup if you were hunting big game, what they were shooting. And when it hit him to the right of his belly, in the shot, you can see like a big cloud of blood mist behind him. And yeah, in real life, that would be like a tennis ball sized hole in your back.
Oh my God. Not what you want.
Yeah, so maybe it's just totally ruptured all of his guts and stuff, but a gut shot isn't supposed to kill you very quickly. I don't know.
Especially if you're John Wick.
That's what I mean. I think if they really wanted him to be dead, and if he really meant it, that he's not coming back, they would have, like, Terminator 2 lowered him in, like, molten steel or something.
Or as, like, an honor killing. So when you're defeated in a battle and you're going to be killed in Japanese culture, the samurai used to behead you. They would have you kneel. And you'd give a quick honor killing.
See, that would have been kind of cool.
So they could have done that with the Ip Man guy, Kane.
That's it. That's what it's missing. Yeah, with the Ip Man. Oh, see, I knew it needed some kind of touch.
They need to start consulting with us before they put these out. Like, just send us the screenplay. We'll read it, give you a couple ideas.
Yeah. I wouldn't say free consultations, but we'll do consulting.
Oh, yeah, it's not free. Jeez.
We know what kind of money you have rolling around over there. So we did mention it before, but to make clear, so they've got the Ballerina, or just Ballerina, coming out. It says later this year, and this is I've also mentioned on the channel, I love Ana de Armas. She is lovely, and she's going to be playing the Ballerina, who we saw dancing in John Wick 3. They're bringing back... if the rumors are true, they're bringing back... Oh, is he going to be in it?
See,
I don't know if this is accurate though, because I just saw something last night of Keanu Reeves saying he's not playing John Wick anymore, but he's really excited to be a producer and he wants to expand the role, and they have all this fun stuff they want to do. I don't know.
Maybe he's only in this a little bit and they already just filmed his part of it.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's what he meant. Yeah. Because Lance Reddick, as we were saying, he just passed away, but he filmed everything for this. So this is wrapped and everything. So, okay.
So maybe John Wick already did this, or Keanu.
Yeah, you sneaky guy. Is
Keanu Reeves, it's not his real name, right? That's like a stage name.
I don't know.
All right, we don't have to look that up. I was just curious.
I'm not sure.
Made me think.
It's a cool name.
It is a cool name.
Keanu. Ian McShane is coming back. And it had... Oh, yeah, there she is. Angelica Huston. She was the director of the ballerinas we saw in John Wick.
Okay, yeah.
So, Norman Reedus. He's the guy with the bow in Walking Dead.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
That would be hilarious if he just comes in and he has the same outfit he's been wearing for 14 years with the same crossbow. And he's just like, that would be kind of awesome.
Dude, that's the only way he can appear in movies now. That should be definitely a prerequisite.
Yep.
That would be so funny.
Yeah, I'll see. I really do recommend... Whenever I see her now, here's the poster for it, but like, I always think of, I always think of her scenes in No Time to Die, because I think any producer or guy out there who's in casting, directing, I bet anyone who sees those scenes is like, wow, this girl has a charm, like a 1 in a million kind of charm, I think. She just steals those scenes, and she's with... Well, what's his name? Who's playing Bond? Liam
Neeson?
No, but Daniel Craig.
There you go.
And she's like stealing the scenes from Daniel Craig. And I don't know.
Wow.
I think she's great. She was really good in Knives Out, and I like her. I've always liked her in anything I've seen her in. Blade Runner. She's great. Blonde was sad. I felt like it was like a soul pact, like it was like a pact with the devil or something. It was such a gross movie, and I've already talked about it here. I wish she hadn't made that movie. But
Cuban Girl.
Yeah. Whew. Hot tamales. So I mentioned that to say we got some more John Wick stuff coming out. Oh, and then the prequel. They're doing a prequel about the Continental. It takes place in the 70s, and it's about the manager character.
Man, so they're not going to be able to use Charon now, though, in that.
No.
Which he probably would have been
young Charon, young Winston.
Oh, it's not going to be played by Ian McShane?
No, because it's their character in the 70s.
Okay, I thought it was only going back like 5 or 10 years. I got you.
No, it's sense. Them, their coming up story, apparently, so... So there's a number of characters we could get young, though. The Harbinger would be cool. I don't know. Bowery King, actually. Yeah. I don't know. So we'll see. It's what I heard was it's a 3-episode series, 1.5 hours each. So
okay.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. That's it. I think that's about all I have to say. I had a lot of fun. I had a good time. It's a good movie.
Same.
Good to see in theaters. I heard it is in IMAX. We don't have an IMAX around here.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. It would probably be really awesome on IMAX.
I bet. It's I mean, there's a lot going on, and I feel like... Oh, did you ever give a letter grade? Because I said I thought it was a B.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it would be like a... So the letter grade is hard because we think of F as like as low as you go. I don't know.
The way I'm going B, and C is like B minus. A is like a masterpiece in that realm. B is like good enough that you would want to keep watching it because like you enjoyed it and stuff. C is like you've enjoyed things about it, but you probably wouldn't want to rewatch it. Yeah. D is like you really wouldn't want to rewatch it, and F is like I hate this movie.
Yeah. I don't know. I think B minus or even, I mean, yeah, B- or C+ even.
Yep.
But that's saying like I really liked it.
Exactly.
But it's just like I think 1 to 10 is easier for me to think of because it's like I can deduct a point and add a point easily. So like I'm working with 5. I'm starting at 5, and if it does things exceptionally, I add a point. If it has something like the ending, I think the last 5 minutes deduct a hard point. I think it's just what you came up with on the spot. I think is a way better death.
Yeah,
like that would have been super epic. And you
you
know, it's the whole friend thing
you would
too.
know,
And
like without a doubt, he's dead.
Yes. I think that's a stronger ending right there.
So if you were doing it out of 10, then
I think a 7, which is and that's the thing. So that's a C, right? That's like a hard C.
So if I was doing it out of 10,
C,
though, mine would go down. I would say this was a 6 and the third one was a 7.
Okay, yep.
Or maybe this is a 6.5 and the other one's a 7. Something like that.
Yep. I know what you mean.
So
I guess, I don't know. It's something about, like, even though, I don't know, it's like something about saying it's a C that I think can be misinterpreted.
Yep.
So that
if we had
like a 7 out of 10.
categories, what if we made a sheet and it was like art, scenery, music, and all these checkoffs, acting, writing, directing, and then we graded it like that. And then the category that I'm rating right now isn't those things. It's my experience of it, like in terms of rewatchability.
That's what it is.
That's what I'm rating right now.
That's what it is.
But if I was going to rate, a lot of the topics would be really high. Like if I was talking about set design or, any of the acting, for the most part, I really liked in all of the John Wicks. The choreography, super high. The story, I think, would be low though. If you're
that's the thing.
Go with story writing or plot.
Yeah, that's what's hard with having almost like a spreadsheet to put a formula on grading, because there's things that I wouldn't deduct a point on this movie that I would definitely deduct for another movie.
Yep.
Like there are things that, like if certain things in this movie happened in Banshees of Inisherin, it would be like, I'm deducting 2 points because what the hell? Like he just pulled out a shotgun with dragon's breath in it, and like
yeah, that's
hilarious. It's like, so they don't like the it's just different every movie almost. It's like a whole new thing. Intent is a big thing. Like what they intend. I love it when I'm watching or I'm listening to music and I'm like, this is exactly what they wanted it to be.
Yes,
like I get the feeling that this is what they set out to make. And even when it's not exactly my thing, I respect that a lot. And I feel like this movie is exactly what they wanted it to be from beginning to end. And like, so it's same thing with Banshees of Inisherin. Like, it's like when they made that movie, Martin McDonagh was like, not everyone's going to like this movie, and I'm making it my way. Like, I'm going to make the movie I want to make. And I respect that. I respect that a lot. But yeah, so it's hard. I think the grading thing, we could do that with a wokeness level and like a family content advisory kind of situation. We could formulate that, I think.
Well, I just think too, like, what if we had a checklist that we were like each thing like that. Like if we said, all right, music, what do you think on this one? And then I was like, I would give this one like a 9 out of 10 on music. And you're like, 5. Like,
and then do,
whatever.
Yep.
Just saying certain things like that, just for new movies, because people are going to have their own first time experience of it and have a lot of views, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
We'll have to think about that.
Yeah, it's something we could think about for sure.
I think the parental review kind of thing is something I want to start doing more in this too, though. I've been trying to do that close to the beginning.
Same here. Yeah, I think that would be good. I don't think that would be hard to... Like, I think that could be a standard that we could apply to every movie equally, and it would be the same. The grading scale wouldn't change.
Right. Right.
And I just think, we both grew up with, was it Focus on the Family books? Like my parents had to, until I was like probably 12 or 13 or so, I know that almost all of the things I watch, unless it was Disney, because we knew from Disney it would be appropriate at the time. We knew that. But
at the time,
they definitely checked things with Focus on the Family, but that was different. The woke, I think we want to start we're going to put together like a woke meter, because you do have to have a certain, it's not even a perspective. It's just an awareness of it. So I think there's a lot of people that see incredibly woke stuff and they have no idea. It's basically, it's all it's indoctrination, and it's subliminal, and some of it's not, and some of it's for kids. And I think a lot of parents don't think their kids are picking up on some of the stuff, and I think they are, but they don't necessarily verbalize it.
And I think a lot of these companies are masterful at making some kind of topic that an adult won't recognize, that someone who's viewing it with a child's perspective will, have a different perception of what's happening that's actually nefarious.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And what were we talking about recently where it was about a certain... Oh, we were talking about the Oscars. And I was trying to put in perspective that this feeling that people are getting from the audience and from fans and the consumers, that they are resentful of a lot of the people whose products they buy, that this started at a different point than a lot of people perceive. And they perceive it as like, oh, people online, they're just talking... and they're mad, and like they see a symptom as the problem, and they don't see that the problem was Hollywood is like a disgusting place full of really gross, hypocritical people who we were generally, I think the general population was okay with that until those same people started chiding and criticizing like normal people. And like, so, in the same way, the woke meter, it's like, all right, if people don't like the woke meter, it's like, do you know that every movie that comes out, that they're rating like how many white people are in it, and how many times did a man correct a woman, and how many times did a man save a woman's life, and this female character in it is like, I forget what they have a term for a woman who is only in the movie as a plot device to push the man. So actually John Wick's perfect. John Wick's wife would fit this bill, I believe. Maybe not only if you have to be on screen and stuff, but we don't even see her. Like, she's not a character in it. So it's just the idea of her. But basically, you have female characters who have to die or be
captured or something,
and that activates the male hero.
I mean, you're describing almost every action movie or video game, like,
yeah, it's pretty common.
Not ever.
It's pretty common.
It's common.
It's like one of the, ironically, it's like, well, why is that the case? Is it because the thing that sets men off is the idea of that happening to somebody they care about is like, it engages that fantasy of like just mayhem and the John Wick fantasy. It's the John Wick fantasy. Like, if anyone ever did this to my wife, oh man, I would, be John Wick and all the way to Saudi Arabia too. And like, I don't know. But anyways, so.
Or your dog, even worse.
Yeah, it's the woke. Yeah, the dog. Exactly, the dog. Oh man. But the woke meter is a response. It's like that's the world we live in, and we have tons of stuff that is hypothetically being made for kids that is not appropriate. And I do think a lot of people just don't see it. And maybe if it was broken down a little bit more, it would be like, oh yeah, I didn't realize.
Yeah, it's kind of like a lot of these Vice talks that you've been looking at, and I've seen a lot of them, is, you know, like you have a bunch of people who have like a pretty normal understanding of like, you know, how parents should be treated in respect to like having authority over their children, stuff like that. But then you have like one person who just has like this crazy cockeyed view on it, who forces everyone in the group to have to confront a conversation that should be obvious to other people. And a lot of that comes from the woke media. It's like confusing things that the regular population used to think was like just obvious. It's like, I don't want men in the women's locker room at the YMCA.
Yeah, I just don't.
Something like that. It's not, it used to be obvious. It used to be like if you saw a man in a dress walk into a women's bathroom and you knew your wife and kids were in there, you'd have a problem.
Yeah, it's one of the many things that really pisses me off because it's so simple. It's so very, very simple, where it's like, I would never, ever, ever expect to walk into a girls' locker room where children are undressing and be, you know, as a, like, I'm presenting as a straight man. I'm not like in a dress, or I'm not like looking like a fucking goofball. And I just walk in as myself and expect, like, what should I expect in this situation? Exactly what I should be expecting is what should happen, which is like an outrageous pushback from the mothers and then the workers of the facility and then law enforcement. Like, that's what should happen. Is first the mothers should be in an uproar, and then they get the workers, and then the workers get the police. That's what should be happening. And we're supposed to be like, oh, well, why is it that you are so, like, talking about the mothers and the children in a locker room changing? Like, why are you so, you know, intimidated? Like, and it's just this projection of like putting it back on them, that it's their problem, that they're uncomfortable. Like, there's stories coming out every time. I wouldn't say every day, but I know it's through the week. The stories are coming up over and over and over again, and it's the same story. It's like, well, how did you know it was a man? Well, he had an erection. And it's like, oh, you mean so he was undressed? It was like, no, yes, he was undressed, but he had an erection. Like, he was looking at us with an erection. So yes, it was a man. And I don't really need to get into the fine details of this person's sexuality. I know that when he was in the locker room with a bunch of ladies and young ladies undressing, that it aroused him. So it's like this is like a big thing happening now across the country.
Oh yeah.
Every day people are fighting for this, and it's just like, it's so absurd to me. It's so absurd to me.
Cops are more and more afraid to deal with it.
Dude, workers being fired. We have YMCA workers being fired for standing up for literal young women, if not girls. And they're being fired and removed, and it's just insanity. It's absolute insanity. So, like you said, that Vice panel, though, it's like, it's so much crazier than it looks. Because you have Vice facilitating the conversation, and Vice is left. It's just leftist. You know, it's just a leftist little rotting brain. It's a big brain that has tentacles all over the internet, and we have to like absorb its ideas all the time now. And it sucks because Vice is garbage. It used to be great. I used to read Vice back when it was a magazine in the 2000s. I liked Vice a lot. And now it's just garbage. And they present this panel like it's this reasonable thing. Like, oh, look at all these women discussing the big topics of the day. And it's like, I just don't think people view this and understand how insane these people are. They just don't. And half of the people here are out of their minds. Like, out of their minds. This person right here, Eli, this is a man. This is a man who sells, he just admitted to this again last week. What this person does is get more testosterone than their body is supposed to get. They get a really high dosage. They cut it up, they make it into powder, and he mails it to minors who meet her on Discord. And he has admitted to this multiple times online and brags about it. He sends life-altering drugs to minors in the mail.
Right, without their parents knowing.
Explicitly without their parents or doctors knowing.
Doctor, yep.
Like, and so to have this person who has already been through that controversy, nothing happened to him. No tweets taken down. Instagram is up. Discord is up. Everything's fine. And then to have Vice invite him onto a panel to talk about parenting
with all other women as though he is a woman.
It's a level of insanity that takes a while you have to let it soak in, because it's so out of line. It's so out of line for this person to be sitting here. And what this person does in their free time. He's a literal predator. Yeah, it's like what would happen if I sent a steroid to a kid? We're talking like a off-the-shelf steroid that a lot of people use for working out or whatever, and I just started like dishing out doses and mailing it to kids, and then bragging about it like, oh, their parents and doctors don't even know I do this. You can't convince me that I'm not breaking several laws there. And I've had this argument with people arguing that he's not breaking any laws, and it's like you can look at federal, state, he's breaking international laws. Like, he's breaking state laws, he's breaking federal laws, and he apparently has people in Europe, and so he's breaking laws on all three realms of law. And people are like, no, that's not against the law. Like, it's the kid decided that they wanted puberty blockers, and he's just providing them.
I feel like they're talking, like, this person is talking to the audience and talking to people as though he's some kind of social justice warrior that's like liberating these children. You know, I know the bullshit that he's peddling. I know that that's not good for them. I know all of that. But I honestly don't think the number of people who know about this very much and think that this person is like good is very high. I think the number that's higher is people who just aren't smart enough, and they're saps, and they take this at face value. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like, I feel like most people who know what this situation is, like, can picture a child who hasn't even gone through puberty starting to receive hormones from someone who is operating completely illegally. You know how dangerous that is. But I feel like most people just hear like the social warrior part of it, and they don't bother thinking about it much at all. And they're just like, oh yeah, that's great.
It's the intention, the stated intention of, I want to help you. For so many people, it's like, okay, I not only believe you, but I believe that you know how to help me. And that's just not how anything works. And somebody telling you that they want to help you, first of all, like, is it more often than not there are bad intentions there? Like, it's not every day that people are just out there spending their time. It's this person's professional life to help you. And it's like, it's suspicious on a level. Like, you should be weary in general of people who are trying to help you, quote unquote, but then know that them intending to or even wanting to does not mean they know how to. And the whole thing with all of this trans stuff is like, there's a lot of people I think are well-intentioned, and they have no idea how people work. They have absolutely no idea what it means for a 12-year-old. A lot of these people are autistic. A lot of these people are gay. They're just literally gay, and they're growing up being told like, no, you were born in the wrong body. Don't you know you have the soul of a man? And it's like, you spend way too much time online. A lot of this has to do with early unfettered internet access. That's a huge correlation with this. A huge correlation is autism. A huge correlation is being gay. You take all these things, you give them a solution to like intense anxiety that they're feeling. A lot of that anxiety generated by the people who are offering the solution. And it's just like, it's all built on lies. It's all built on misdirection. It's all built on scapegoating. It's all built on gaslighting. All of it is it's horrendous, embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Like I strongly believe that in 10 years, I think it's going to take a while, unfortunately. What it's going to take is a lot of detransitioners coming out and telling people what actually happened to them. That's what it's going to take, unfortunately. But in 10 years, it's going to be so flip-flopped. People are going to be so embarrassed that they ever supported this. Ever. People are going to be denying it. In 10 years, people are, oh, I know. That whole thing was crazy. They were saying that you could put 10-year-olds on puberty blockers. Like, that's obviously crazy. It's like, oh, is that crazy? Why don't you try saying that on Twitter or YouTube or Facebook and see what happens? Because they act like that's not very crazy. They act like that's actually like an obvious scientific truth that you can give a 10 or 11 or 12-year-old girl or boy puberty blockers that they can just get off of when they're 18 or 19 or 20, and puberty will resume. It's just insane. Again, it's all built on lies.
Hey, for sure.
All of it.
It's hard, and it's manipulative on the highest level. They're targeting people when their minds are vulnerable, their bodies are changing, and so they're feeling all sorts of uncomfortable, nervous, not confident, and then they're getting all these promises of this will be better if you just like accept that your body isn't
you're born in the wrong body.
You're born in the wrong body. All of that.
Yeah.
It's very manipulative. I totally agree. I'm not someone who would ever hold against an adult in a real way that they're transgendered on a personal level. I have views about it. Like I would, consider that something that they're dealing with mentally and not as much physically as maybe it's being addressed. But I don't think on a personal level with adults, that's what the problem is. And I feel like when people hear an argument like this, it's like, oh, those people are just so transphobic and they hate trans people. And so it's like, no, the main concern of this argument is the safety of children. It's the safety of developing children. I don't know. Obviously, the knowledge of these surgeries going out, even for adults, is important because hormone blockers, hormone injections, surgeries, these things have all been proven to have negative side effects, and that information is important to get out there. But we just can't have people running around talking like this is how things should be now and convincing kids of that. It's really unhealthy. It's scary. It's definitely scary for the youth. Yeah, for sure. I can't wait for it to be over, but it's not ending. Well, we just got to unleash John Wick, give him new marching orders. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I was just trying to find that tweet from Eli, but there's tons of stuff coming up just about the mailing drugs to minors thing. But it's crazy. But yeah, John Wick was pretty good though.
John Wick was pretty good though. Everyone just keep an eye out on all this media stuff for your kids. Yeah, right. I would say there's no trans advocacy in John Wick 4. Nope. And not any like weird sexual content either. It's straightforward shoot 'em up.
It's what you expected. Just what you expected. But, okay. Well, yeah, that'll be it for now. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys next time.
Until next time. Yeah.